Have you ever considered moving to Russia to be a digital nomad? With thousands of sanctions, numerous banned websites, and of course the blocking of Visa and MasterCard in Russia, many people around the world think that today Russia is a digital dead zone. People imagine you move here and instantly lose contact with the rest of the world. But a lot of foreigners I personally know here in Russia, here in Moscow, work entirely online, living in this city, and they do just fine, with a few caveats. In today's video, sat here on a park bench in the beautiful Tagansky Park in central Moscow on this lovely autumn day, I want to go through what it's really like working remotely from Russia in 2025. And first up, I should touch on the basics, and that's internet. And honestly, this part is almost boring, and that's because the answer is just it works well. Broadband here is cheap and fast, far quicker than what I had in London. Speeds do vary a bit. Even in Moscow, some providers are better than others, so it's worth checking reviews before you sign up. I pay around $10 a month for unlimited home internet that's rock solid. On my phone as well, which I'm filming this on, I've got unlimited data for next to nothing, and I can tether my laptop to my phone if I'm out and about. Although almost everywhere has Wi-Fi anyway, from cafes to co-working spaces to actually the metro itself has free Wi-Fi. You will need a VPN though. Some Western sites here in Russia are blocked, sometimes by the Russian government itself, sometimes by the website. And other pages on the internet just crawl without a VPN. They work, but very, very slowly. There's also the issue of certain payment platforms, cloud services, and advertising dashboards that either won't load or will show you something like a message, region not supported. So if you're doing anything with analytics, running ads, using software as a service tools, a VPN is essential. Personally, I keep 2 paid VPNs, so if one goes down, I'm not stranded. And plenty of people do the same. I would recommend that for you too. And next up, probably the hardest part of working remotely from Russia, it's not the internet, it's not VPNs, it's not services not working, it's not even finding clients, it's getting paid. And that's where almost everyone runs into the first bit of trouble. And that's because SWIFT transfers to Russian banks are blocked or unreliable in many countries. So if you're a freelancer, you're far better keeping your financial setup outside of Russia. Most people who are here and have lasted here long term, like myself, hold on to their old bank accounts back at home because it's by far the simplest way to get money in. Clients pay you as usual to your UK, US, whatever bank account. The cash lands safely in that foreign account. And when you need rubles, you can swap with someone you trust or use one of the many peer-to-peer exchange services. There are Telegram groups, local exchanges, even friends of friends networks. It's quick and it's far less risky than hoping a bank transfer will clear and your money being stuck in the ether. The key is to avoid asking your clients to send money directly to a Russian bank because that's where things break. Another option, of course, is crypto. A lot of freelancers, digital nomads that I know, invoice in USDT or Bitcoin, and then they convert it later when they need it to local currency, into rubles. And that works surprisingly well. But of course, it's not risk-free with price swings and platforms freezing withdrawals. And of course, scams exist if you don't know what you're doing. So if you go this route, use established exchanges and keep security in mind. Some people I know hold stable coins and cash out in small amounts to reduce volatility. Maybe that's a good idea for you. But in reality, if you've got a proper business structure abroad, like a UK limited company or US LLC or something similar, you're in great shape. You can invoice your clients through your foreign company, keep your revenue in foreign currency, keep your money abroad, and then decide when and how to pay yourself. Some people just leave their money totally offshore, and or they exchange money into the UK, into Russia when they need it. They withdraw cash when they go traveling abroad and bring it back in. Others just get their friends to bring in small amounts into Russia as needed. So that flexibility is really gold if you've got a foreign company. What you definitely should not do is shut down everything foreign and rely only on Russian accounts. That might feel simpler at first, but sooner or later you're going to hit a wall. Clients can't pay you, platforms reject your card, and even if a transfer goes through this time, it can fail next time. So I wouldn't recommend it to anyone trying to work internationally from here. Definitely keep your foreign bank accounts and your foreign financial setup if possible. Now I want to talk about the legal side, and that's where a lot of people get lost. So if you're only in Russia for a short stint, a few months on a tourist or a business visa, you might still count as a tax resident in your home country. Russia only considers you a tax resident after you've spent 183 days in a rolling 12-month period in the country. So once you cross that line, basically more than half the year, at least in theory, Russia expects you to declare your worldwide income and pay Russian income tax. The simplest local setup, if you choose it, is the self-employed regime. It's called самозанятие. It's pretty easy to register as a sole trader. It's light on paperwork. The tax is low. It's something like 4% on foreign income and 6% on Russian clients. You'll have to check that yourself. I'm not an expert on this. And there are lots of other legal structures as well, such as individual entrepreneur. It's called IP. Also limited liability companies, etc. But they're a lot more complex and probably overkill for you as a freelancer or a digital nomad. Still, it's worth reading up on them if you plan to build a big operation here in country. So before you jump in, I also would recommend checking what your home country does about double taxation. Some have treaties with Russia, so you can credit what you pay here against what you'd owe back in your home country. Others don't, meaning you could be hit with tax twice. I know some Americans have this issue. I know lots of people actually who haven't thought this through, and they've ended up with nasty surprises when their accountant back in the UK tallied up Russian tax that they couldn't offset. I'm not quite sure how this works, but check up double taxation between Russia and your home country. Employment is another headache. Many Western companies won't put you on a contract if you're physically in Russia, and that's not just politics, it's also compliance and risk, banking rules, sanctions lists, insurance restrictions. Some Western firms are fine if you have a non-Russian legal entity, even if you're here in Russia, like a UK limited company or US LLC. That way they pay your company abroad. So from their side, nothing's changed. It doesn't actually matter that you're in Russia. And then there's a grey zone between the two. That's people who, I know people like this, people who've kept their old job working from home, and they've actually never updated their HR back in the UK or the US about where they are now. They stay on the payroll, they log into Zoom and do the work, and nobody in London or New York realizes they're sitting in Moscow. Of course, I can't officially recommend this, but plenty do get away with it, at least until maybe tax or compliance questions come up. So if you're planning to stay long term, not just a couple of months here as a nomad, this legal stuff really matters, probably more than you think. Being casual about residency and tax can work for a while, but if you want a mortgage or permanent residence one day, or even just peace of mind, you'll eventually need to formalize how you earn and declare your income, so it's probably worth thinking about. But really, if you talk about Moscow, I would say that this city is almost perfectly set up for remote work. Moscow is full of cafes and coffee spots, not just big chains, but small independents with reliable Wi-Fi, plug sockets at every table, and decent food if you want to camp out for hours. Many places, of course, are open late, and a surprising number do run 24/7. So if you like working with a bit of a buzz around you, you're never going to struggle to find a seat here, especially in Moscow. Co-working spaces are everywhere as well, and they're generally good value. You can pay for a simple hot desk. Probably starts from around 5 to 10,000 rubles a month, about $100. You can find way more expensive ones as well, but that's cheap by Western standards, and it gets you a comfortable seat, coffee, and often meeting rooms you can book when you need need some quiet or you need a video call. If you want those higher end spaces, they exist too, with extra perks or a social scene. Some feel more like private clubs than offices. Infrastructure in Russia is also, especially in Moscow, very reliable. The metro is a huge plus. It's fast, clean, safe, warm. So even in the dead of winter, you're never going to be stranded, can't get to a phone or a computer if the weather turns bad. If you'd rather stay put at home, nearly everything can come to you: food, coffee, groceries, even you can order office supplies online that will arrive within 5 to 10 minutes through delivery apps. So the infrastructure is great for it. And also the time zones here are very manageable. Moscow is 3 hours ahead of London, which is actually convenient if your clients are in Europe. You get mornings to focus, and then you can do your calls after lunch. For the US, you're usually looking at evening or late night calls. Asia is a lot harder. You'll be up very early if you're dealing with Australia or Japan, but that's really true of anywhere that's west of Dubai. So the rhythm of the city here really helps as well. Moscow is awake late, so it's very normal to see people working on their laptops in cafes at midnight or ordering their dinner long after offices close. So if you're the kind of remote worker who keeps odd hours, you're going to fit right in here in Moscow. So all of this sounds great, right? But now I need to talk about the negatives, the friction. Sanctions. Sanctions aren't static, they shift. A payment channel that works today can disappear tomorrow. A friend of mine had his UK bank account shut down, for example. Some software tools also will pull the plug on you with no warning. 1 week, your favorite analytics dashboard works fine, and then the next day, it's service unavailable in your region, even if you're on a VPN. So that's why you do need redundancies. Keep a foreign SIM card to receive security codes, a foreign bank card for subscriptions, multiple VPNs in case one gets blocked, and ideally set up a crypto wallet, probably before you move here. Assume that things will break and plan routes out of potential issues that might come up. Visas and legal statuses are also another hidden snag. Tourist visas don't technically let you work here. They're for visiting, not earning, but plenty of people do work on them because there's obviously nobody actively checking your laptop. But if you want to stay long term, you'll probably need something stronger. However, each visa has shifting rules. Paperwork that was enough, that worked last year, might be obsolete this year, and requirements can change with very little notice. So if you're serious about a long stay, not just coming in, then coming out, talk to someone who's done it recently or hire an expert. If you're interested in one, hit me up, I can recommend someone. It's also worth thinking about insurance and medical cover. Western travel insurance might not cover you once you're seen by them as a resident of Russia, and policies within Russia themselves do vary in quality. Sorting this out is by no means impossible, but it's another piece of admin that eats away at your time. The main point is that life is doable here, but it's not just like fire and forget. You need backup plans for money, backup plans for your tech, a clear idea of your legal status, the legal status you'll want to follow if you want to stay past a few months. Another negative I really need to talk about is client perception. This is the politics of it all. Even if your work is totally apolitical, like design or coding, translation, marketing, whatever, some Western clients will get nervous the moment they see the word Russia anywhere on an invoice or on a payment request. And it's actually very often not about sanctions. Sometimes it's just perception and risk management. Big companies often have automated compliance checks that flag certain countries. Smaller clients might simply just feel uncomfortable, probably because what they've seen on the news, they just won't want to take the risk. Either way, it can just spook them. And the easiest way to get around this is keep your invoicing details neutral. If you can, bill through a company or bank account outside Russia, so the paperwork never mentions a Russian address or a Russian IBAN. Plenty of freelancers I know just keep using their American, British, foreign company, or they register something in a friendlier jurisdiction. That way, clients are paying a normal entity, sometimes a normal foreign entity, and nothing looks unusual because it's not in Russia. Some people even go simpler and just use a stable home address from the UK or the US or a mail forwarding service. Your PayPal, Wise, Revolut account still shows a UK or US location, and you just continue to operate like before. So the client experience stays exactly the same. They don't have to worry about compliance or changing how they pay you. If you don't do this and you start sending Russian invoices, you're going to hit walls. Some clients will back out, others will delay payments, and in worst cases, their banks may block transfers. And it's not personal to you, it's just risk avoidance. So if you're planning to build a freelance business here in Russia, think about where your business is based on paper, not where your laptop is physically sitting. So my blunt advice as a sort of conclusion is this: if you're thinking about working remotely from Russia, but come prepared. Sort your money out before you book that flight. Keep at least one foreign bank account alive, ideally two, and open any payment services you might need while you're still outside Russia on your home IP address. Once you're here, it's much harder to register those accounts and even just keep them running. Set up your VPNs before you land. Test them. Have backups ready just in case one gets blocked. Keep an emergency way to access funds. A foreign debit card you can use to withdraw cash abroad or online. A crypto wallet you understand so you can move money safely. Don't assume that your home bank will like you logging in from Moscow. Some shut accounts with no warning. I know people who have had this happen to them. Be realistic about immigration too. A tourist stamp is not a plan. If you're going to stay beyond a few months, research visa routes. Paperwork takes time and the rules shift. Having a legal status that matches what you're actually doing might be difficult today, but it could save you stress later, especially if you need to rent an apartment long term, sign contracts, or maybe just travel in and out without too much hassle. So to finish off, can you work remotely from Russia in 2025? Yes, plenty people do it, and the day-to-day infrastructure here, especially in Moscow, is brilliant. Fast internet, affordable rent, cafes everywhere, ultra-reliable infrastructure, and a city that's awake at any hour. But it's not just plug and play. The hard bits are money, the legal status you have, and of course, politics. And those are things you have to think through before you come. If you line them up properly, you can have an easily comfortable life here, and you'll still be able to work globally. If you don't, you'll spend half your time solving problems that you could have solved in advance. That security guy's walked away, I think. Strange.